Hello, everyone. We want to start by talking about something that is very fundamental in the NGO fundraising space. Many people ask a simple question that what makes an NGO successful? Why do we classify an NGO as successful and another one as a failure? Irrespective of how you define failure or how you characterize what may be or what may constitute failure. Now, in the NGO space, what you do is that you change the community. So if we were to define success of an NGO based on the foundational principles, then we have to look at whether that NGO has brought about the change in the community. And now this is where the problem comes in, because to bring about change in the community, I need resources. To get resources, I need change in the community. What we mean is that to bring change in the community, you need money sometimes, or for the most part, so that you can bring about tangible and predictable and physical change in the community. And for most organizations, to bring about that change in the community, you need money actually, so that you are able to bring about change in the community. And this quagmire is what has crippled many organizations, because they are waiting for a donor so that you can implement your program. And if you bring me on board as a donor, I will not come in to start the change process in the community. What we do, because I've sat most of the times in reviewing proposal for organization, we want to come into an organization which has got an already evidence of the change in the community, so that when you provide resources, what resources ought to do is that resources must scale what happens in the community. In fact, donors scale what worked. Donors don't scale the work. So here is the quagmire, therefore, that I want to talk about this moment, that how, therefore, do you strike a balance between looking for resources and bringing change in the community. Before we begin, you must recognize that NGOs are founded to do something in the community and to bring about change in the community. And before you start getting involved in the NGO space, you must ensure that you are much acquainted with the sectoral activities or the sectoral dynamics that is happening in the community. If I'm dealing with women, for example, maternal health, I should be able to understand all the statistics of maternal health in community X. How do I understand statistics of maternal health? It means that I must have developed an interest in the sector. I must have had an opportunity to work in the sector, either to do research or to interact with the women or interact with the social workers, so that I can have evidence to conclude that there is a problem in the community. It is based on this that therefore I now get involved to bring about change in the community. Now, once you have this basic information, then you are able now to use this basic information to consult donors and to let them know that this is the kind of gap that we are having in the community, and this is where we want you to come in. Now, I will give you a very simple example. I want to start an organization from scratch. I am interested in supporting women in community X because maybe the child mortality rates are very high. So what do I do first? I get acquainted with the data about the child mortality rate. I document this data, and then I begin to analyze and interpret this data. Now, when I share this data with donor Y understands that I'm familiar with the data in the community, and I position myself as somebody who has been doing something in the community. So that might become a foundational ground or objective for attracting a donor, because you have knowledge and you have understanding. So data become the primary foundation upon which to build an organization. So once I build an organization on data, therefore I'm able to use those data to share with probable donors. That is what we call using change documentation approach. You are looking at the change in the community and the gap in the community, and you are using such kind of information to share with the wider ecosystem of donors in that space, so that they can know that there is a gap in the community and we should actually get involved. Once you create the first step, then it is now easy for you to do what is called create a digital presence, where you can share this kind of information, where you can engage the wider people in the space or in the health sector. They can understand that we have organization Z working in the community X doing A, B, C, D. But the point is, no one will give you resources unless you prove to them that you deserve those resources. And to prove to them, you must build the capacity of the organization to show to any donor that you have something significant that you can bring about change if they give you money. So this video begins by telling you that you can actually start from scratch. But for you to start from scratch, you must build an evidence to convince a donor. To build an evidence to convince a donor, you need to generate simple information that you can share. I've done this in the past. Go to a community, talk to women, talk to youth, talk to community leaders, just get those data, document them down, sometimes take picture with them, engage them at a low or no budget. Once I garner this kind of information, then it's easy for me now to engage the donor, telling them that in community X, this is the gap, these are the people we talk to, this is what we have been doing, and this is the change that we anticipate. Number two, you don't have to have multi-million dollars to generate evidence, because what you need with the organization, and I will share this in subsequent videos, is that you need to build what is called a brand. A brand is that people should know that NGO Z is doing a program in community X, and these are the changes that they have brought about. Actually, good organization attract donors, and there are several ways you can attract donor. But the most fundamental one is that you should position yourself as an organization that is bringing change in your community, and there should be an evidence to prove that. Once that is authenticated, then it is easy for you to reach out to the donors and engage them, as we will share in subsequent videos, and solidify your portfolio and your position. Then you can use several options. You can go to international agencies, you can go to embassies, UN agencies, you can use corporate social responsibility. We will apply all of them in our subsequent videos so that to build your capacity. But what you need to let you know is that as somebody that's beginning afresh in the NGO space, you need to prove to the donor that you actually have the spine, you have the evidence, you have the capacity, you have the knowledge, and then you have what is called an in-depth information that you can use to change the community. Now, I will give you an evidence as we close this video, because most of the time when you're engaging an organization, you realize that they are writing fundamental proposal, but then there is a difference between a generic proposals whose findings are generated from the internet and somebody who has been in the space for a long period of time. Such a person will give you what is called an area-specific information, which shows you that they have the knowledge. What they are going to do with your resources is to scale. So as you begin, build the evidence, build the capacity, and the donors will come on board. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see each other in the next video. Bye.